I started 38 years ago. I was 48. A buddy died of a heart attack, scared the heck out of me. The doctor said, lose weight, get more exercise. So I did it, and I'm 85, and I claim a world's record. I claim, and I've done 125 since my 80th birthday. There's nobody else out there doing it. I nearly always win my age group. There's no competition. I used to walk and run, but I suppose I've been walking 100% since I turned 80, something like that. It'll change your entire life. Gives you purpose. You're healthy. You look good. You feel good. And if you get a few marathons in, people look at your role. Especially at age 85, you're a role model for many, many people.
60 years his junior. There's Daryl Sutherland, the leader of the Cannon Mississauga Marathon at the 32K mark.
That brick-like structure is considered the wall, that real halfway point in the marathon. It's where your body starts to run out of fuel. If you look at it as a car analogy, it's like your fuel meter getting close to empty. So he's got to watch all his expenditure right now, making sure that he can get to the finish line with the fuel that he has left.
Denise McHale starting to lag a little bit. You saw Natalie Goyer making some strides, still looking fresh, and there is Jutta Maralainen continuing to lead the women's race.
Well, we can see that the marathon is now taking its toll on these runners. We're into the latter stages of the race, and we're starting to see the strain on their bodies, on their faces, and they are having to really bear down now.
Again, a gap opening up between second and third. That is Terry Gale from St. Charles, Quebec. Paul Leduc, not exactly your prototypical marathon runner. They were together for a long time, and now Gale starting to stride away.
Well, this has been a great race. These two did run together for almost 20 miles, and now we see that Terry is pulling away from Paul.
Daryl Sutherland fighting off Achilles tendonitis the last little while, continuing to lead. Hasn't run a marathon in 4 years. Wouldn't that be something for him to come back and win? We should also mention that among the 10,000 runners is a world champion. Not in running, but in skating.
Big smile, congratulations.
I always wanted to run in a marathon. That was just something I always wanted to do. So when the Mississauga Marathon started a couple of years ago, I thought, well, here's a marathon that I should do. But my body's a little banged up after all the years in skating. And so then I thought, well, maybe I'll do the half. That didn't work out either. And so I put a team together, and we decided that we wanted to run for a very good friend of ours, Jane Rogers, who has been battling cancer. It started as colon cancer a couple of years ago and has spread to her liver and to her lungs. And so she's really in the battle of her life. And she's just the most wonderful person in the world. And we thought, well, let's do this relay for Jane, and let's raise some money and awareness for her cause, which is a fund at the Trillium Hospital. She really wants to raise money to buy more chemo pumps for that area of the hospital, so that more people are able to get their chemotherapy on time.
With our chemotherapy protocols, the length of them now and the number of them that we're seeing patients 2 and 3 times, the equipment has become a big issue for us, and I think Jane noticed that when she was here too. I mean, we try our very best to meet the needs of all of our patients in a timely fashion, but I think she's identified some needs, and we've been very thankful for her help.
All the money that is being sponsored by the runners in honor of Jane in particular in the Mississauga Marathon, all those donors that are giving whatever they can to help the hospital, they're all important, and we like to think that we value every donor, and we're building this great health center on one gift at a time.
Just the way she has turned her battle around into something positive and reached out and said, you know, I want to raise money for, you know, other people so that, you know, to make their way a little easier, and just the way she has turned around and faced this battle with such courage and bravery and spirit. It just amazes us all and really inspires us, and hopefully we can give her a big boost on that day.
$140,000 raised for the foundations for the Credit Valley Hospital, the Trillium Health Center, and the William Osler Health Center. We are nearing the conclusion of the Cannon Mississauga Marathon. 5 kilometers to go for Daryl Sutherland. Not bad for a guy who was told that he should never run a marathon again after suffering some Achilles problems. Look at the clowns on the course. Those are the Durham Road Dogs. Did you ever have clowns on a course when you were running a marathon?
You need all the motivation you can get when you're out there, especially in the later stages of the race.
Terrific response from the community here, all the volunteers and the people along the race route. And what a great finish as you come along the lake shore of Lake Ontario.
Now, Terry Gale over there looked really good, but I think he's waited too long.
Denise McHale, further back in the race, the women's division, continuing. Was very close early on, but McHale, she looks like she's grimacing a little bit and starting to feel it. Natalie Goyer may look fresher than everyone else.
Natalie looks terrific. Denise looks like she's running on empty, but Natalie here looks like she still's got a lot in her tank, and she's making her move. She's passing a lot of these runners.
I guess the question is, can Jutta Maralainen hang on? Her lead was very big for a while. It started to close a little bit now.
Jutta, you can see she's not lifting her knees as much. She's
still
struggling a little bit.
Though.
She's smiling. I think she's grimacing into the wind there a little bit, and when the wind is coming off the lake.
Terry Gale running second now in Port Credit. A new development underway here with the Fram Group, which will further enhance this beautiful award-winning village. And Paul Leduc, again, we talked about the body type. You don't see too many guys. I'm not going to say he's a giant, but he certainly is a taller runner.
Yeah, very few of the top marathon runners are over the height of 5'10". And you can see that Paul is well over 6 foot. So it's difficult for a guy like him. Often when you have big men out there, you call them the Clydesdales.
Well, into the wind now. Real big breeze blowing on marathon day. Denise McHale just kind of hoping she can put a sail up and go with the wind, but it's not happening for her.
Both of these women can't wait to reach that finish line because you can see that they're both struggling and they are starting to run on empty.
Maralainen leads, McHale is second, Goyer is third in the women's race. Still alone in first, heading to Jack Darling Park, is Daryl Sutherland.
Daryl has been leading for well over 2 hours. He's very lucky that this is a great downhill course, wind mostly at his back, but now it's in his face as he's approaching the finish line. And this man in second place, Terry Gale, is making headway into diminishing that lead.
Maralainen. And look at behind her. That is Natalie Goyer. Speaking of diminishing a lead, she has made a quantum leap in this race. She is now chasing down the leader. You can just see her in the background. Natalie Goyer. Look at how fresh she is. And Maralainen is now struggling.
She's coming on like a steam train.
Natalie Goyer was running third way back, and she is in a sprint now. Look at this.
Jutta, who has led the whole way, will have the surprise of her life when Natalie comes by her.
Look at this right here. My, oh my, Natalie Goyer has now taken the lead. She's taken the lead away from Jutta Maralainen. Maralainen trying to go back in front, but you can tell that Maralainen right now is really struggling.
What Natalie wants to do now is go by very strong, demoralize Jutta, and make sure that she secures this win.
Right now, Jutta is saying, where did she come from? She was so far back. We have to call that right now our AMJ Campbell move of the race. Natalie Goyer from Saint-Bruno, Quebec. And she has taken control of the women's race. You could tell just the difference in the legs right now. Pumping and striding so much stronger than Jutta Maralainen, who may have gotten off to too quick of a start in this race because she has hit the wall.
If Natalie just stays on her feet, she is going to be the winner of the Cannon Mississauga Marathon.